By the scoreboard the news keeps showing you, Tesla is losing this race, and badly. It runs about 20 driverless cars that carry paying riders, 20 in one city, while rivals already run thousands. But that scoreboard is measuring the wrong thing, because Tesla also sits on well over 1 million cars already sold and on the road that could become robotaxis with a single software update sent overnight. So the real story of Tesla's robotaxi scaling is the gap between those two numbers, the one the mainstream keeps missing. Because this is not a race to build cars, it is a race to switch cars on, and then to prove they are safe with nobody watching. So here is what this video does. It gives you an honest picture of where this actually stands, right now, in the summer of 2026. What Tesla has really built and launched, what is still just a promise, and the handful of things over the next year that decide whether this stays a trickle or turns into a flood. No hype, just evidence. The real question is less about whether this works and more about how big it gets and how soon, because the prize here is one of the largest new businesses in the world. Start with what is real, because a lot of it is. First, the paid service. Since the summer of 2025, Tesla has been running robotaxis that carry paying passengers. It started in Austin, Texas, and it is now live in a small set of cities, including Dallas, Houston, and Miami. In most of them, there is no driver in the seat. In a few, like the San Francisco Bay Area, state rules still force a safety driver up front. Second, the size. The truly driverless fleet is tiny. Roughly 20 cars do the fully driverless rides inside a mapped zone the cars are allowed to drive in, which in Austin now covers about 245 square miles, the whole metro area. Third, and this is the honest part, the driving is still supervised, not by someone in the seat, but by safety monitors and remote operators who can step in. Nobody has yet proven the hardest version, a car earning money with nobody watching at all, across a large fleet. Fourth, the car everyone is waiting for, the Cybercab, Tesla's robotaxi built from scratch for the job, with no steering wheel, is being made in Texas, and more than 100 have already come off the line. But here's the catch. Not one of them is carrying a paying rider yet. Every paid ride today still runs on an ordinary Tesla Model Y, adapted for the job. Now, a snapshot can look tiny and still be moving fast, so look at how fast it is moving, because that is the real progress. 3 numbers. First, the paid miles. In the last few months of 2025, Tesla's robotaxis had driven a little over 600,000 paid miles in total. By the spring of 2026, that figure had jumped to about 1.7 million. It nearly tripled in a single quarter. Second, the map. The Austin service zone didn't just creep outward, it expanded about 5 times in under a year until it covered the entire metro. Third, the software, which is the engine under all of it. Tesla's self-driving system crossed 10 billion miles of real-world driving in May of 2026, and it is adding tens of millions more every single day. None of that means the finish line is close. It means the thing is speeding up, hard, from almost nothing. Small today, not slow.
So how does 20 cars become millions? This is what makes Tesla different. Tesla has 2 ways to add robotaxis, and they scale at completely different speeds. The first is obvious. Build brand new cars made just for this, the Cybercab, in a factory. Tesla says that mine is designed to eventually make up to 2 million a year, roughly 1 car every 10 seconds at full speed. That is quick for a factory. The second way is the one no rival can copy. Take a Tesla that is already built, already sold, already parked in someone's driveway, and switch it on as a robotaxi with a software update. No factory, no new car, just a download. Tesla has more than 9 million cars on the road worldwide, And the newer ones already carry the cameras and the computer the software needs. That is the raw material, and it grows every quarter on its own. One path scales at the speed of a factory. The other could scale at the speed of an update sent overnight. And underneath both, the same cycle keeps turning. More cars send back more real driving data, which trains better software, which makes the cars safer, which lets Tesla remove the humans still watching them. Tesla has the largest fleet feeding that cycle. Now the honest comparison, because today Tesla is behind. Waymo, the robotaxi arm of Google's parent company, is the one doing this at real scale right now. Waymo gives about 500,000 paid rides every week across a dozen or so American cities with a fleet of roughly 3,500 cars. Tesla does a small fraction of that. In Texas, where both must register their robotaxis, the official count was blunt. Tesla, 42 cars. Waymo, 577. So on the scoreboard right now, this is not close. But watch how each one adds the next car. Every new Waymo is a vehicle built just for the job, packed with expensive sensors, bought and owned by Waymo at around $75,000 each. That is real money out the door for every single car. Tesla is betting it can add cars by switching on ones it has already sold. If that works, the difference is not just speed, it is the whole nature of the thing. One is held back by how many cars a factory can build and a company can pay for. The other is held back only by how many owners say yes. So that is where things stand. Now the outlook, because the next 12 to 18 months set the pace. Hold on to 4 milestones. First, the owner network. Tesla has promised for years to let ordinary owners add their own car to the fleet and earn a share of the fare while it would otherwise sit parked. That switch has not been flipped. The day it launches is the day everything about where the cars come from changes. Second, unsupervised driving. Everything today relies on humans watching over the cars. The milestone that matters is the version of the software Tesla lets drive with nobody watching at all. Tesla points to late this year and into next. Whether that date holds or slips tells you almost everything. Third, the cybercab actually carrying riders. Building them is done. Putting them into paid service has not happened. Fourth, cities and rules. Robotaxi law is written state by state, so every new state that opens and every clean safety record that holds widens the road. Now the honest range. On the cautious view, the one that deserves more weight, this stays a slow city-by-city crawl for a few more years, held up by regulators and by the hard jump from watched driving to unwatched.
On the aggressive view, the owner network switches on inside a year. The fleet jumps from thousands to hundreds of thousands, and the growth suddenly takes off. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, and the whole question is simple. Does it end up closer to the slow crawl or the sudden jump? Strip it all down, and the whole thing hinges on a single number. Not the price of a ride, not the miles a car can cover. It is the switch-on rate. Of all the Teslas capable of this, how many actually get turned into robotaxis, and how fast? That one assumption swings the outcome more than everything else combined. So here's the question worth fighting over in the comments. Out of every 10 Teslas that could do this, how many actually get switched on, and in what year? Think about what really decides it. Plenty of owners will hate the idea of strangers riding around in a car they still pay for, eating in it, slamming the doors. But it is also money landing in your account while that car just sits in a parking lot doing nothing. So pick a real number. 1 in 10? Half of them? Name the year and defend it. Get that one number right, and you saw this whole thing coming before almost anyone else did. Now, the case for this going big, and it is stronger than it first looks. Start with the one thing no rival can copy. Everyone else builds or buys each robotaxi one expensive car at a time. Tesla already sold millions of the cars it plans to use. That is not a small edge, it's a different game. Now look harder at the risks, because most of them are not walls, they're gates, and Tesla already holds the keys. The owner network is a feature the company built and simply has not switched on. The safety driver comes out the moment the software is good enough to be left alone. And while a federal investigation into more than 3 million cars is real, and one bad crash really could stall a state for a while, more places keep approving these cars, not fewer. So most of this is a question of when, not whether. And here's what the cautious crowd keeps underrating. Tesla does not need most owners to say yes. It doesn't even need half. The fleet is so large that even a thin slice switching on would put more robotaxis on the road than every rival on Earth combined. So the day that owner switch finally flips, the supply does not just grow, it detonates. Weighted for every risk, this looks less like a maybe and more like a matter of when. And then a question only you can answer, because in the end, this comes down to you. Picture your city 2 years from now. You open an app. A car with nobody inside pulls up in minutes and takes you across town for less than half of what a ride costs today. No tipping, no paying more just because it rains. Here's the question. The first time that just works, do you ever go back? Do you keep paying double for a human out of habit? Or does the old way suddenly start to feel absurd? Share your answer down in the comments.
So where does the scaling actually stand? Today, it is real but tiny. About 20 driverless cars, paid rides in a handful of cities, every ride still watched by a human somewhere, and the car built for the job, not yet carrying anyone. That is the summary, and it is modest. But the machine behind it is not. More than 1 million capable cars already on the road, a factory line built for millions more, the largest driving data set in the world, and one software switch that has not been flipped. The next year sets the pace, and the one thing that controls it is how many owners say yes and how soon. The mainstream is still scoring this by counting the cars running this morning. The real story is the switch from watched to unwatched, and from cars Tesla owns to cars its own customers add. That gap between what runs today and what could run next year is the whole thing. The right response is not excitement, and it is not dismissal. It is homework. Watch the 4 milestones, decide the pace you actually believe, and judge it for yourself. That is what this channel does. Take a story the headlines get lazy about and lay out what is actually true, what is still just a promise, and what to watch next with nothing hidden. If that is worth your time, subscribe so the next update finds you. One last thing. The content in this video is for reference only and does not constitute investment advice. All investments carry risk. Please make your own judgment based on your personal circumstances.